My name is Shawn Foster, and I'm extremely excited today to have the opportunity to speak with you about my plan if selected as the next superintendent in your school district. But before I get into the details of my plan, I would love to, if you would, have you join me on a short journey. There have been many situations in my life that I've encountered that have helped shape what I like to call leadership story. What and how my values were determined as a leader. So if you would imagine a young man who is nestled up in his bed early in the morning as his mother walks in to get him ready, prepared for school. Young man jumps up excited about learning. He runs into the kitchen to what most people would seem to see or seem to believe to be a breakfast or a preparation for breakfast. See pots on the stove and you see the oven door on high. But instead, in this situation, this young man's preparation for school is a little bit unique. You see, the pot on the stove was there with boiling water that he would use to prepare to wash himself in the morning. The oven that was on high was there because that's what his mother used in the morning times to heat the area in the house. Because, I remember my mother often having 2 stacks of mail in our home when I was growing up. One stack had one thing in common. When you look at it, it said, paid to the order of. And then there was another stack that had a common theme as well. And in that common theme, it always said amount due. As a child, I remember not knowing then that the stack that said amount due often had more or was a larger stack than that said paid to the order of. Because you see, sometimes, although my mother was a hard-working mother, sometimes there was more money that went out than came in. So in times when we didn't have electricity, she had to make do. So therefore, the pot on the stove was used to have warm water. The oven was used to heat the home. But nevertheless, my childhood and my upbringing was that of one that was centered around education and having a high-quality education for all children. Now, I remember my mom, as we left our home, taking a shoestring with my house key and placing that shoestring around my neck and saying, make sure, as she tucked it in my shirt, that whatever you do, do not lose this house key. So as we departed and walked towards the city bus stop where I would get on the city bus with my mom to catch that city bus to my school bus stop, I remember having vivid stories and conversations with my mother just about what she wanted me to do and what she expected out of me as a young child. I remember my mom turning to me and saying, there are 4 things that I expect out of you every single day. So as she looked this 3rd grade young man in the eyes, she would say, do what's right, treat people well, work hard, and make good decisions. And I remember having to repeat that back to my mother over and over. Do what's right, treat people well, work hard, and make good decisions. So on the times on that bus, I would get excited when I saw my school bus stop readily approaching. And the excitement came when I had the opportunity to ring the bell on the city bus, indicating that it's time for me to get off. So I look at my mom as I ring the bell, and before I got off that bus every morning, she would take 35 cents and place it in my pocket. That 35 cents, she would say, make sure whatever you do, same as for that house key, don't lose that 35 cents. Because she knew that 35 cents was my ticket for when I returned from school to catch that city bus home, which I would be doing alone. So I would get off the bus and eagerly await my school bus to go to school, to have an opportunity to do just what my mother told me she expected of me. To do what's right, treat people well, work hard, and make good decisions. So I say that in my preparation to let you know where my leadership story comes from, where my values are grounded if I'm selected as superintendent in your school district. So now for my plan if I'm selected to be the next superintendent in your school district. You see, I have a fundamental belief that public education is the equal or the great equalizer. It provides all children an opportunity to be successful and to become a contributing citizen in this global society. So as I go over my plan is grounded in 6 core fundamental beliefs or fundamental values. And those values are simple. The first one is that I believe that all students deserve a learning environment where he or she can maximize their full potential. That all students deserve a high quality educator, someone who's loving, someone who cares about them and is committed to their overall success. I also believe that all students deserve facilities that are top notch and provide them the opportunities for next level learning. And I also believe that students deserve daily access to technology. Because you see, in this day and time, without providing a daily touch of technology for all of our students, we're not preparing them for the world in which they have to live. And finally, I believe that all students and staff deserve to work and learn in an organization and a culture that is safe, progressive, and innovative, so that we all move forward towards a common goal. So, now for my plan, the goals that I have listed in my entry plan. Goal number 1. My first goal would be to establish a relationship with the board of directors, with cabinet, district level administrators, and community stakeholders. The emphasis that I have within this goal, they're simple. First of all, I would have an emphasis on understanding and establishing a shared vision. Then next, I would take this opportunity to learn about all aspects of the school community. So the action steps to accomplish this goal, they're simple. I would have to set up meetings with each individual board member to sit down so that I would have a clear understanding of their values, their beliefs, and their goals and next steps to continue the excellence in this school district and become even greater in the areas that we see needs. Also, I will conduct a listen and learn tour and try to cover every corner of this school district to ensure that I've heard from every stakeholder as to what they believe are the needs, the assets, our strengths, and our weaknesses of the school district. I'm a firm believer that the most intelligent people don't always have the right answers, but the most intelligent people know how to ask the right questions. Finally, I will meet with various departments within the school district, the district office, and the schools to ensure that I have a clear understanding of what they expect and what they want this school district to be. Goal number 2. Goal number 2 is simple. I think it's imperative that any leader entering the school district must take the opportunity to learn the systems and structures for the physical organization and financial oversight in that school district. Being physically responsible is a key component of good stewardship of taxpayers' dollars. So the emphasis as it relates to this goal are simple. I need to take an opportunity to understand the district's current budgetary situations, but also examine the accountability and protocol measures that we have in place for the school district. The action steps that are associated with this particular goal are simple. You sit down and you meet with your finance director to understand and oversee all current budget situations, looking at different funding sources, looking at our expenditures versus our revenues, to see how physically sound we are as a school district, which enables us the opportunity to explore what resources we have the opportunities to go and acquire. Second, I will meet with various department heads to ensure that they have a sound understanding of their financial standings and how those financial standings relate to the goals of their individual departments. Goal number 3. My third goal is fairly simple. I think that it's important that we establish a culture of understanding and a climate in which the school district and the local community operate as one. This culture and climate needs to be one that's positive and engaging for all stakeholders, not just teachers in our buildings, not just our students, not just our support agencies throughout this district, but everybody working towards a common goal. The emphasis with this goal are simple. This is something that I feel you need to really establish, and that is earning public trust. We have to understand that the public and the public school district is just that. This is our school district. It doesn't belong to myself. It doesn't belong to principals. It doesn't belong to school officials. It belongs to the public. Also, we have to also understand what I believe to be extremely important is public perception. As we all have heard in many instances, public perception is just that. It's someone's reality. So how do I go about garnering this information? I make sure that I get out and meet with my principals. Schedule meetings to meet with faculties throughout our schools. Also take an opportunity to meet with various department heads, but also reach out to our civic, our religious leaders, our local elected officials to garner their input as to what they feel this district has been in the past and can be in the future. It's about community engagement and notifying and understanding where all stakeholders lie as it relates to the target and the progress of our school district. Goal number 4. If I had to categorize these goals in any particular order, I believe this would probably be the very first and most important goal. And that goal is to ensure and maintain safety and security for all students and staff. You know, we're entrusted every day with parents' most prized possession, their children. Having 2 children of my own, I am keenly aware of how important it is for a parent to drop their child off at school or see their child board a school bus and feel a sense of security and knowing that they'll return home safely, but also in better circumstances than they were when we dropped them off. So with this goal, I have 2 key emphasis areas. I would have to evaluate our current safety procedures and plans to make sure that not only they exist, but also make sure that people are aware of what those procedures and those plans are. So that in the event that something were to happen, we know that we have individuals who are prepared, trained, and ready to respond to ensure safety for all of our children. Also, I would have to examine our building and maintenance records as well. So we look at safety from a response aspect, but it's often also an aspect of building equality, building cleanliness, and making sure that things are fixed so students don't endure or have to encounter any injury from any broken equipment, facilities as well. So that's the emphasis as it relates to school safety and climate. How do I go about doing this? First of all, I think it's important that we review all of our safety procedures and our safety plans, not only with our school officials, but also with local law enforcement agencies and any other support agencies that we will rely on in the event that we had to use or had to encounter a school emergency or school crisis. Also, I would have an opportunity to sit down specifically with our school resource officers to ensure that we're all on the same page as relates to how we engage and how we treat our students in this school district. It's important that school resource officers are not only there to act as a sense of security, but also become a catalyst for community policing and develop a positive outcome for all of our students throughout the school district. Finally, goal number 5 is also a very important goal. That is to examine the overall instructional program of the school district. How do we do this? We first of all have to go out and identify consistent instructional policies and practices throughout the school district, and also examine our core instructional program. My first point of action would be to meet with the Assistant Superintendent of Instruction and the instructional staff to look at our performance trends, evaluate our data, longitudinal data, year-over-year data, to see if what we're teaching our students are yielding the outcomes that we like. Also, we would have to really sit down and evaluate the funding of FTEs to make sure that we have the adequate amount of individuals to provide the resources and support at our school levels. For instance, We will have to look at our course offerings to ensure that we have a wide range of course offerings for all of our students. For those students who have an active interest in the arts, an active interest in math, an active interest in English. So our course offerings are key to ensure that all students have a high quality educational opportunity. So in closing, 5 steps in review, 5 goals. Goal number 1, to establish a relationship with the board of directors, stakeholders, and community members. Goal 2 is to learn the systems and structures of the physical organization financially and operationally. Goal 3, to establish a positive culture between the school district, the schools, and our community. Goal 4 is to maintain safety and security for all of our staff and our students. And finally, goal 5 is to evaluate our current instructional program to ensure that all students, no matter where they live, no matter how much money they have, no matter who their parents are, have a high quality educational opportunity. So I'll end with a few things. You know, as a leader, you have to really sit back and consider what efforts need to be taken to move a school district forward. So again, as I mentioned earlier, I have a values-based approach to many things. And another additional values-based approach that I have is my belief is that you need to be tough on process and easy on people. So that when we have to have a tough conversation with individuals as to how things are going, that they understand that they are a valued part of this team, that their values and their thoughts and beliefs are considered. However, we're evaluating the process and not the individual. Because again, as my mom always told me, do 4 things for her. Do what's right, treat people well, work hard, and make good decisions. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share with you my entry plan if selected as the next superintendent of your school district. Again, my belief is that public education is the great equalizer, the great opportunity for all students to become a contributor in this global society. Thank you.